So this topic's not for the light-hearted. So it's coming with a warning sign. Agile is dead. Hands up, everybody who has put Agile in their organizations. Hands up who's running Agile in their organizations. Okay. No, keep your hands up so I can see you. Hands down if it's going well. Okay, we'll talk outside later. That's just proved Agile is actually embedded, not dead. So there's some good news there. All right, moving on. I'm actually talking to you about leading with agility, so less about being Agile or whether we're not or not. And we're going to be talking about uniting teams, cultivating a culture, and elevating performance for business success. So one thing about leading with agility, it's not anything new. It's actually been something that's been a mindset going back from years and years. So Darwin, this is one of my favorite quotes for today. And according to Darwin's Origin of Species, it is not the most intellectual of the species that survives, it is not the strongest that survives, but the species that survives is the one that is able to best adapt and adjust to the changing environment in which it finds itself. What does that mean? Adaptability, exactly. And God, the world is changing. We've got robotics, we've got AI, blockchain, well, that's yesterday's news anyway, but still, we've got artificial intelligence. Not only that, a couple of weeks back, I was at a summit for the New Scientist, and space is a thing. So actually, there's a lot of projects happening to build a space economy, believe it or not. But anyway, it's quite interesting. However, just have a read of these two quotes. Out of these two leaders, which one would you work with? Hands up for A. Hands up if you'd work with leader B. Okay. When I heard these two quotes, so that's Sheryl Sandberg, and that's, dare I say it, it's Jimmy Dimon from JP Morgan. If there's anyone else that works here, sorry. This is what I thought when I heard quote B. It was just a big facepalm moment. And as soon as that quote actually was published in the media, employees started to roll off. There was a churn rate. And that's because the attitude was just wrong. And so here's a big quote here, that 75% of leaders actually quit their leaders, not their jobs. So what is agility leadership? It's being adaptable, it's being open to change. It's about allowing a space to innovate and experiment. How many of you guys have space to experiment in here? Okay, it's nice to see a number of hands go up. So those of you who are not experimenting, you're not innovating, so start thinking about that. And not only that, leaders have to come down, believe it or not, from their ivory towers and start integrating with their people. Coexist together, listen to learn, don't be judgmental, don't judge at all, be strong, but also at the same time be empathetic. So an empathetic leader today is one of the most valuable leaders that you'll actually encounter, I think, in today's world. An empathetic leader and an adaptable leader is someone who understands agility. So they understand how to remain ahead of competition through innovation, hence they give you room to experiment. They know what it means to get to the market faster. The world has changed, as I said. Things are moving very, very quickly. So we want to be able to move at a rapid pace, but still incrementally, so we're testing and learning in the market. This is what Pavel was talking about before. Seeking continuous improvements. I mean, it's there. It's still being agile. Agile very much still exists, is what I'm really trying to say here. So, about uniting teams. It's an exciting time for us. We need to be learning new things. And one thing that I often find when I go into an organization is that the vision and goals have not been shared. So the first question I always ask, where are your objectives? Where are your goals? And the number of times I've heard people go, I don't know where they are. it's incredible. And so you really want to be sharing your vision goals. If you're not doing it now, start doing it, and make it accessible as well. Make room for innovation, that's what I was talking about before. You've got to create the time and space to try new things, but not only that, celebrate creative thinking and allow more diversity into your teams so that you have got that opportunity for creative thinking as well. Encourage continuous learning. I think some of this, what I'm saying here, is a regurgitation of what it really means to be agile, but also building an organization that has the capability to be agile as well. So yeah, the key things: leveraging agile, delivering early and often, testing and learning, failing fast, collaborating, and communicating. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk to you about is, how many people have heard this quote from Peter Drucker? We all know it, right? Culture eats strategy for breakfast. Now, question in the room: what does that mean when you read that? Oversimplification. Okay?
What people do rather than the vision that they should be.
It's about the people. Exactly that. So it's when you have a good culture, your strategy is going to succeed. So what do you see here? Is this a good culture? I had this conversation with 3 people last week, and one of them came on a Zoom call. He looked absolutely knackered. That was picture number 1. Then I went and had a coffee with another ex-colleague. These are all in one particular industry, by the way, so should I name names? I don't know. That was the face. Yes, I'll probably not name names then in that case. The second one was someone I had coffee with. They were just very frustrated because there was just no movement, and they're very passionate about Agile themselves, but there was a lot of pushback, and it was very stressed. And then the final picture: what culture do you think is that is breeding?
Burnout.
Burnout, exactly. Too much work. And you can just see it on their faces, can't you? What about these ones? Are these good for our strategy? Does it exist in our world? Yeah? Gossiping, blaming others, absolving responsibility. I told you it's not for the lighthearted. Negative talk of others, micromanagement. I've been there. And actually, I'm going to share something very vulnerable to you as well. There was, back in 1999, so a long time ago, obviously I'm definitely over it now, I was actually bullied in the workplace. And I made a point to never let that happen to me again. I left, I milked the salary for a little while, just kept handing in my sick note, but still, it was an awful time. And ever since then, and ever since discovering Agile ways of working, I've been able to help so many other people not have cultures like this in their organizations. So that's something I'm very proud of. Getting overworked, I've even been there. I've worked from 8 o'clock in the morning right till 5 a.m. the next day. 2 hours sleep, back in the office. Not fun. Not fun at all, and total burnout. And then also there's not being recognized for your efforts. Other people taking the credit. Or, not getting the training that you need to do your job effectively. Or not even having the tools, actually. Not being recognized that you need better tools for the work that you do. That's not also cool. And also no transparency. The number of times I've been in organizations where there's just no trust, and there's a hierarchy. And because there's a hierarchy, you don't share information with people below you. That doesn't work either. If you are going to work in an Agile way, and if you are going to lead in an Agile way, you need to be open. You need to build a culture like this. Respecting one another, being kind, being considerate, sharing, being mindful of how you speak to others. I used to just literally just run my mouth and just speak and say whatever I wanted. I felt confident doing that as well. But then that can also get people's backs up. So you have to be really mindful about how you speak to people and do it with respect. And, you'll eventually get away with words. The more you become self-aware of your own words, the more you'll get better at that. Sharing your workload. Don't overwork people. So another example I had was where one of the companies that we went into, the biggest problem was churn. Their engineers were leaving by the bucket loads. So I said to them, okay, so why do you think your engineers are leaving? I said, they're probably getting paid better elsewhere. I was like, it's not about the money for most people. It's probably your culture. It's got something to do with your culture. So let's figure this out. So I spent some time with the engineers, ran some interviews, did some assessments, and soon enough, when I gathered all the data, it took me about literally just 10 seconds to figure out what the actual problem was. And that was that they were burnt out. So the cause was actually, when COVID hit, this particular company had to move very, very quickly in terms of getting their product online so that they could still service their customers. Again, I'm not mentioning names. And that meant that the engineers were working around the clock to deliver this particular and solve this particular problem. Then COVID went away. Well, not exactly, but it started to tame itself, didn't it? And people were returning to work. But that churn and that demand never stopped. So the leadership team was still piling on reams and reams and reams of work. So the backlog was probably as big as this room. Put my teeth back in. As big as this room. We don't want to overload people. So really be mindful about when people talk about setting WIP limits, mean it, and do it all the way from the top right through to the bottom. Reward people, big or small, any success and any reward motivates your people. So just even a thank you, recognizing people for the things they do and just saying thank you is a good thing to be doing in your organization. So bring that into your culture. And then obviously build transparency, trust your people. Again, going back to that question around vision, share your vision, be passionate about it, and build a sense of purpose with your people as well. So, just based on that, what culture would you like to influence? Anyone? Openness, I like that. Trust, safety, yes. Creativity, I love that.
Continuously learning and improvement.
Continuous improvement and learning, I really like that. Yes.
Conversation, literally.
Open communication, yes, I like that. That's amazing. What sort of cultures do you want to let go of? So think about your culture today. And one thing I forgot to mention, actually, and I'm going to mention it now, is when you see bad behavior and nobody does anything about it, that breeds a bad culture. So remember that. So what bad cultures do you want to get rid of? Yes, 100%. Siloed cultures, definitely. Yes, open up communication. When you open up communication and you start working together, magic happens. You become more powerful as well, and you get your product to market. So leaders should know this. Get people collaborating.
Sometimes for me, a word in itself, it's neither a yes nor a no completely. It's not a black or white.
Yeah.
For example, the word competition.
Mm.
If I say no to competition, what I'm really saying is no to proving one.
Trying to one-up somebody.
Whereas
Yeah.
healthy competition, that's a good thing. So
Yeah.
I think with just one word, sometimes we might make the mistake of going into a black and white thinking.
Exactly. So no, we have to be careful, and we need to kind of go deeper in our. Excuse me, I'm getting a dry throat. We need to go deeper in our interpretation of culture. So we have to say a bit more. Sorry. So here's our culture. So we want to be able to future-proof everything we work on, including people as well, so that they've got the skills that will carry them into their future of work as well. Like we said, the world's changing. I myself am learning about AI right now. It's pretty cool. High performance, I think one thing I really love is when you see a product come to life and it's out there in the market and people are using it. It feels good. So getting things to market really quickly, but doing it in a sustainable way is super important. Staying client-centric or customer-focused. When we don't have a customer, we don't have a business at the end of the day. So, your most important person is not only your customer, it's also the people in your organization, because without the people in your organization, you wouldn't even have a business either. So think about that. And then trust and transparency by respecting one another's experience and listening more. So, elevating performance. It's not about speed. It's more to do with understanding your organization. There are so many moving parts. The bigger an organization gets, the more complicated it becomes. And so we need to find a way to be able to visualize a structure in an organization, but do it in a way that everyone can pick up within moments. So a quick way to see the structure of your organization. So, again, when we're leading in an agile way, what do you see here? Probably just kind of giving it away anyway, but still. I always say an organization needs to be like an orchestra. You need to all be singing off the same, well, not playing your instruments off the same hymn sheets, but playing the instrument that you're particularly good at. Or try new things as well, but, be like an orchestra. So, speed. It's not about speed. What was that? Elevating your employees. It's about your people. So we want to make sure that when we're talking about increasing performance, for example, we always need to make sure that we're not just thinking about internal, our employees, but we're also thinking about external as well, our people who our customers are. So from an employee perspective, always make sure that you are aligning to the vision. I can't say it or express it enough, so I'm going to keep repeating it until it's there. So when you go back to work tomorrow or the day after, get that vision statement and go and share it with everybody. Make sure people know about it. Give your people a sense of purpose. They're there for a reason. They're excited. When they get that job offer from you, they're probably really happy and they're celebrating it with their friends and family. Make it worth it when you're going to go bring people in. Give them a problem to solve and then let them go. Respect the fact that they are talented people as well. Give everyone a chance. And then also, give them access to your vision, your objectives, and your KPIs, but also give them access to the right tools. Customers, make sure that you are solving a particular problem that your customers are experiencing. Go to your support teams, ask them what your most common customer complaint is, respond to it. Make sure your app, your digital, whatever you're building, whatever product you're working on, or whatever service you're delivering, make it easy and accessible. Give your customers an opportunity to feedback and do something with that feedback. Don't just collect the feedback, do something with it. And also, we live in a world of instant gratification, so make sure that they are able to access your product almost immediately. So, final. By the way, I just wanted to share with you, I had 2 days to write this talk, so it might be a bit clunky, I do apologize. But anyway, I picked 4 topics. Anyway, so performance metrics are something that we all collect. What metrics are you collecting today? Cycle time. Yep. Usage index. Tell me more.
How often is the feature used, by how many people, for how long, for example?
Okay, great. Yeah, that's a good one. Anyone else?
Sprint goal, hit rate.
Hit rate. Yes. How fast we're getting through our goals or meeting the features. Yes.
Even when we hit them on
Yeah, but that's good to know, isn't it? Yeah, why do you think that's good to know?
for sprint goals, you want to be able to go in a certain direction and make sure that that direction is going to take you to where the product needs to go.
Yeah,
And so setting that together is a meaningful thing.
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Who else does sprint goals? Hands up. If you're not doing it, we'll talk about setting them up for you as well.
What is? Can you explain that a bit? What does sprint goal hit rate mean? Because in my head, sprint goal is a pass-fail. What is that?
Yeah, so over a period of time, whether you've actually hit a
Oh,
sprint
so
goal.
To see if you're meeting all your goals.
Quality and reward.
I like that. Yes. So, what I noticed about metrics is different metrics matter to different people. So, For your leaders, it's about how fast are we getting a product to market? How much money is our new product making us? What is our customer uptake? What's our retention rate? What is our churn rate? Are we being cost efficient? So they're all about creating value and achieving value. So from a leadership point of view, the metrics do differ to what they might be for a team. For tech leaders, their metrics are also quite varied, right? So what's important to tech leaders is lead time, cycle time, throughput. That's the most common, and that actually matters across the board, if I'm honest. But release frequency, how fast are we getting our work to market? Technical debt, are we building any debt? And if we are, what are we doing about it? Let's not forget that this is a thing and it does exist. The lead time, obviously, the time from dev to prod, cycle time, the time that it takes to go from one stage to the next, and then throughput from an idea into production. But also, are we working on value? Are we delivering the right things? That's an important thing. So I think that would matter to tech leaders as well, but also product owners too. And systems performance. The whole point for these particular metrics is to really make sure that we're getting a good picture of our work, our things that matter to us. So for managers, it might be, have we met our sprint goals? Have we achieved our hit rates? Defect rates, customer feedback, the time we take to release the product. Who looks at waste reduction? Anybody?
Sure.
Waste reduction.
That's my main focus.
Ah, interesting.
That's where I start from.
Yeah.
Define the way.
It's the easy wins.
Define waste. Work that doesn't necessarily add any value.
Or prevents
Or-
creation of value.
Exactly. Thank you.
That's one of the many definitions. So much waste. I know. Starting with this is never wrong.
So think about the waste that gets created in an organization. There's so much of it out there, and it makes us less efficient. It doesn't get things to market fast enough, and sometimes we end up just ruining the actual journey in itself. So look at your processes, look at the product you're building, look at the value you're adding, and look at all the other factors as well. And then for teams really just want to understand, are they on track? Are they progressing? Are they working on the right things? How well are they delivering, and how much work is coming through? And can they handle, how much work can they really handle as well? So those are sort of key data that will help track performance for your managers and teams. So if you focus on these things, I think you'll be in a good place. But more importantly, who checks for morale? Thank you. You guys have just made me so happy. Yes. How happy your teams are, how happy your managers are, how happy your leadership are, and your tech leads as well, of course. That makes a difference in your organization as well. And so that's super, super important. So quick one. So it's a quick run through today. But let's work better together, guys. Thank you.